I'm Kerry Rowett, and this is the Align and Attract podcast, helping you to create your version of an aligned business. Let's dive into today's episode.
Blind spots and business. We all have blind spots, and I'm sure if you have worked with a kinesiologist or an intuitive mentor, that's probably a big part of what you enjoyed about working with that person. It's certainly something that people share that they love about working with me because I help them to see the things that have been holding them back that they haven't even realized we're holding them back. But when we shift them, they make the hugest difference. And of course, those blind spots can be in so many different areas. This can, of course, come up in our lives as well. And I've got a really quick personal example of this where I decided at the end of last year to completely cut gluten out of my diet. So I've known for a very long time that my body doesn't really like gluten, but I didn't really think I had a lot of gluten in my diet. I avoid pasta and also don't eat bread. And I didn't really think that I ate a lot of gluten on a day-to-day basis. But once I decided to completely cut it out, as you would imagine, I became aware of all of these different places that gluten was sneaking into my diet, and the number of times I might just have a cracker here or a bite of the kids' pizza there. And really, I was having gluten every single day. And even after I very intentionally quit gluten, I still had these moments where I realized gluten had found its way into my diet without me even realizing. One example was with a muesli I really liked to eat. I do still have oats, but I read the packet one day and realized it had rye in it. And the ingredients list said, includes gluten. I was like, oh my gosh, I totally did not realize that. That was something I had eaten every day for quite a long period of time. And then only quite recently, I realized that I had been having Milo most days. And a friend said to me, I thought that you might not have Milo being gluten free. She's just recently found out she was celiac. And I was like, really? Why? And I read the pack. And of course, you might already know, Milo includes gluten. It's got malt in it. And the same thing, I was then having some rice balls. I bought them to put in a health bar that I was making. And my daughter just said, oh, do they have gluten in them? She's taken to asking this question. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. Read the pack. Sure enough, rice balls, the ones I bought, had malt in them as well. And it really got me to thinking about this concept of blind spots. I wasn't looking for gluten in these places. I wasn't expecting to find it. And so I didn't find it. And so I was relying on other people to tell me, or I had noticed I had some symptoms, and I just was like, I've got no idea where this is coming from. So I really was leaving it to chance. And that can happen for us in business as well. We might rely sometimes on some healing support if things have gotten really bad, they're feeling really challenging or stressful, but we miss all of these other places where that support could be highlighting a blind spot for us and helping us to really create a massive change around that, which could help us to move towards our goals with much greater ease. And this is something I have really noticed for the clients who work with me consistently over a period of time. As we continue to move, first of all, yes, the conscious blocks and the conscious barriers and the things that are definitely very stressful day to day and the challenges that inevitably pop up. But we are also releasing things that you might not be so aware of. And I have observed when we're doing this over a period of months, and in some cases, even years, this is where we really allow ourselves to create these transformational shifts in our energy that really do allow us to continue to create results that we haven't anticipated, that can be even better than what we expected. And this year, I've started to translate this awareness across into my own framework of how it is that I see this to happen. And it's going to be delivered through a mastermind, because it's something else I see is when we are committed and we're in the process and we are really intentionally moving towards our goals over a period of time, that gives us space for some of these barriers and blind spots to come up and to be dealt with. And it might be things that to you weren't really expecting. But I've been working with clients who've got businesses for over 15 years now, and almost exclusively for the last 12 or so years. My clients have nearly all been online female entrepreneurs. So, what feels really left field for you can also be quite predictable for me in terms of the types of things come up. And I've really used this knowledge and awareness as I have been shaping the mastermind. But as I talk you through, like where I see some of these blind spots to come up, you can have a think right now for yourself. Is this something I could really consciously deal with? And of course, if this way of working really resonates with you, of course, I would love to work with you in the mastermind. I really see this to be an incredible way to partner with you and to really be with you in it as you navigate through the challenges that come up in business, oriented around the goals that you are working towards. So let's dive into this. What do I tend to see once we have set these bigger goals and we have planned to grow in our business? Well, first of all, it's getting really clear on what it is that we want and really understanding what it is the success looks like. And so the first blind spot can be not even realizing that you are not clear on what you actually want. So if I was to say to you now, across the next 6 to 12 months, what would you love to create in your business? What would success look like for you? How would you answer that question? And then, of course, there's going to be some things that sit underneath that. What does that mean you might need to create? What new marketing or strategy might support you in creating that? Because that is the next step, is defining and creating your aligned pathway to creating what it is that you desire. Again, this can be a blind spot. This can be something that we miss. We might have a clear goal. For example, I want to have months of this size, or I want to have a business of this size, but we don't necessarily have the aligned pathway and strategies to be able to create that. So we spoke about energetics versus strategy on the podcast last week, and strategy is of course important. Energetics are of course important. So as you feel into your goal that you just defined before, do you feel that you have got an aligned pathway? Sometimes what I'll see is people will think, I need a new strategy, or I need a better strategy. But more frequently, what I see to be the case, and this is also from clients who might work with me and then they go off and then they come back a year later or 6 months later, and they are sharing with me about a new strategy that they have put in place or that they have experimented with. Sometimes it has made a really big difference. Sometimes they've come back to me because they're unwinding that strategy or because they've realized it's not actually going to work for them. And so often it is building upon what it is that is already working and adding new elements of strategies and building this out over time. And it can be a lot more incremental than what it is that we might hope. But really, this is what I see to work for people who have success over time and who have sustainable businesses over time. There's a lot more tinkering and tweaking of strategies than there is implementing the big, bold, new strategy, which instantly and completely changes the game. Next, are you acting on your strategies or this pathway, your marketing practices? Are you acting on that consistently? This can be a blind spot. Instead of seeing that it's my consistency is the problem, we can think, I just need to find something new that actually works. So if you're not acting on your strategies consistently, this is, of course, something that someone like me supports you with because we want to know what is actually stopping you from doing that. Is it a sabotage? Is it bringing something up for you? Is there an emotion sitting underneath this which is preventing you from taking that consistent action? Do you have a fear of success? Do you have a fear of something that's going to happen if you really step into your power in your business? Or are you actually asking too much of yourself? Do you need more support? What actually matters within these practices or these actions that you're wanting to take? Where are your priorities? Maybe you can't actually do it all, and that's why you're not being consistent. So, really understanding what is my blind spot here? What am I not actually seeing? Then we want to look at, are you actually aligned in your business? Are you aligned with your pricing? Sometimes we can feel really wobbly, and I'll see clients wibble wobble about a price point. It could be within a very small range. It's like, is this the number or is this the number? And what can sometimes be true is that it doesn't necessarily matter as long as you are feeling really aligned with that pricing and your energy is really behind it. Of course, the value needs to be there. Of course, it needs to match with what it is that your ideal clients can invest and are willing to invest in order to get the kind of outcomes that you're wanting to support them in. But your energy around pricing really matters. Are you really aligned with your ideal clients? Yes, knowing who your ideal clients are and really feeling this sense of alignment around attracting in the numbers of clients that you desire and also clients with the qualities that you desire. It's a big part of what I work with my clients on, like the clients who do my Align and Attract Group program. It's a really integral part of that, where we're aligning to attract qualities of clients with qualities that we really do enjoy working with. And it's something that works spectacularly well. And again, I can help you to clear the blocks that might be keeping you out of alignment so you can just feel like your pricing is just your pricing. It feels really, really neutral. When there's a lot of energy and charge around these things, that can block your growth. It can block you from allowing more clients into your business. If you've got clients that have less than ideal qualities and you're worried about, am I going to get clients who want refunds or who are causing issues or are not happy in some particular way, people will block clients. I've seen it time and time again. So we want to clear that up, and that's what I can support you in. And then the supportive business energetics. I don't think this is something we will tend to typically seek out. We don't walk around going, do you know what I need is some business energetics. I need to clean up my own energy. I need to clean up the energy of my business. I really need to feel into the energy of my offer. And does it feel really robust? Does it feel really supportive and magnetic? We won't tend to go around like thinking that's what we need to actually be doing. We might think, oh no, I just need to, like, again, go back to strategy or something like this. But when we do these things, they make the hugest difference. It's why I have woven these practices into the mastermind, so you can come along to a masterclass and I guide you through these processes, and then you get to really experience that for yourself without you intentionally having to seek it out, or indeed even bring it into a session with me, because I'm actually guiding you through it and I'm teaching you how to set it up for yourself and to come back to it as well. You can come back to it and refine it as you then need to. Something else that can be a massive blind spot for so many people is really knowing that when you step into growth and you decide you want to grow your business, or you want to change things in your business, you want to introduce a new offer or a new way of working with you, you want to create more stability, more sustainability. Perhaps you want to transfer into working for groups. So many people will say this because they really want to be able to support their own energy and have some more leverage in their business. For people who get stuck in only working one-for-one, it's such beautiful work, but so many of us know it can lead to burnout as well. And of course, if you take any time off, you do not get paid. So we all understand those things. But when we decide to make a change, we decide to grow, you will freak out. Your energy will freak out. Your stuff will come up. And it doesn't matter whether you think it'll be fine or you don't. Like, if you already know it's going to be causing you these challenges, it tends to come up, and it comes up in ways that you don't expect, and it can really blow you about. It can really cause you a lot of stress. It can also cause you to feel like maybe this isn't the right path. Maybe this isn't the right action. Surely it shouldn't be feeling like this. But I can tell you, from having worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs over the years, it always happens. It happens so frequently. And so that's why, within the mastermind, I'm going to be supporting you in that with the emotions, the beliefs, the patterns, the stories that come up. And we can deal with this in a really day-to-day way, because I've built in support through Slack, which is like a chat channel. You can have little voice notes with each other and also chat backwards and forwards. And when your stuff's coming up, I can help you to move through it so that you can just keep on moving forwards. So it might be a blind spot moving into growth, but when you've got that support in your corner, you don't need to fear it coming up, because you know you've got the support right there to help you to deal with it. And you can have the most brilliant strategy and the most brilliant idea, the most brilliant plan. But if you're not executing on it, because all this stuff that's coming up, it's never going to succeed the way that it could. Also, as you're stepping into growth, you can really tap into some collective fears and even individual fears around visibility, safety. There's witch wound stuff, there's ancestral patterns, and we can find the origin of what it is that's coming up for you, and we can just heal it and we can shift it. So you don't need to go hunting for it. I can support you in that. We can see what's coming up. I can find out what the cause is, and I can help you to shift it. Then also, as we are stepping into growth, there is always identity work to do. You are stepping into a new identity when you're creating something you haven't created before. You're creating a life that you haven't created before. And I support you in stepping into that new identity and the practices that can really help you to land in that identity and to integrate it. Also, there's a lot of reprogramming to do. We do have a lot of beliefs. We've got a lot of thoughts that can really hold us back. And when we intentionally do that reprogramming, it makes a huge difference. Can you hear how much is in this, and where you just might have some blind spots around why some of this work might be required and when? Because I don't know, like, you probably haven't done the number of client hours in the same way that I have, or had the exact same training, in kinesiology and Reiki and NLP and in positive psychology and all of the different things. I'm immersed in this world. I've worked with, thousands of hours of clients on this stuff. This is what I see to work. This is what I see to make the difference. Finally, we're going to want to expand capacity, because it's one thing to desire change and to desire growth. It's another thing to step into it, to hold it, to allow it, and to be able to receive it. I really hope that's given you something to think about. If you're loving the sound of the energy around this mastermind, I'm so happy to talk with you about all of the details. You can get the information at alignandattract.com/mastermind. And I'd really love to hear, where do you feel like your blind spots could be? Where do you find that you most need support? Thanks so much for being here, and I'll talk with you next time. This was episode 129 of the Align and Attract podcast, and that means you'll find all of the relevant show notes over at alignandattract.com/blog/129. If you want to chat with me about this episode, or indeed anything else, you can jump across to Instagram and find me at Kerry Rowett, and you can also catch me on email at kerry@alignandattract.com. If you are interested in working with me in the mastermind, oh my gosh, I would love that. You can find some of the details at alignandattract.com/mastermind, and if you sign up, you can get all of the details, including the pricing. I am so thrilled to have you here, and I cannot wait to speak with you very soon.